I'm a kind person. I'm kind to everyone. But if you aren't kind to me, then kindness is not what you'll remember me for. Himself proved that he thought of himself as a kind man. But if the people of Chicago and Al Capone's victims were still alive, they would have disagreed. They would have said that he was anything but nice. They would have said that he was powerful, dangerous, unstoppable. They would have said that he was the king of Chicago. Sounds powerful, doesn't it? But how powerful was he on June 5th, 1931, when he got arrested? That's right, the king finally got locked behind bars. And this time, no matter how high his status may be or how much he threatened, there was nothing he could do. This was his fate, sealed and bound to happen. First off, let's get to know the king a little bit better. Al Capone was known worldwide as one of the most famous gangsters in the 20th century. Many feared on the behalf of his name, and they had a pretty good reason as to why. Repeatedly, Al Capone was found responsible for numerous of violent, brutal acts. How brutal? Let us take the St. Valentine's Massacre for an example. On that dreadful day, 7 men belonging to Bugs Moran were assassinated. Yes, 7. And of course, fingers were being pointed at Al Capone because he was the gangster, even if he wasn't near when the shooting took place. Now, if you think that nothing could scare people more than to know that one man could kill so many without being near, you think wrong. To add fuel to the fire, Al Capone has said that he was like any other man, that all he did was supply a demand. Also, to add on to the whole violent category, he has said that he could get much farther with a kind word and a gun than he could with a kind word alone. What a man, am I right? Yet, this was the same man that had everything taken away from him when he got arrested. His family and his title. But maybe him losing his title was a good thing, because it was his title that got him in this mess. It was because of his so-called status that influenced him to do bootlegging and several other illegal businesses. Businesses that caused him to be unable to pay his taxes. This was called tax evasion. The illegal act of not paying taxes. The consequences? Fines and imprisonment. Now, 2 attributes of Al Capone's personality was that he was persuasive and very convincing. Sentenced to 11 years in jail, he spent 2 years in federal prison until he was caught bribing a guard. And you know what happened? He got moved to Alcatraz. What is Alcatraz? The nicest way to say it was that it was a prison meant for the worst. There, Al Capone suffered more than most prisoners, with his life being literally pulled away from him. But that's another story for another time. You know, when a crime happens, people relating to the victims are usually brought in for questioning. I think that's what happened when Al Capone got arrested. Many of Al Capone's family, like his brother, had passed away before 1931, so obviously they couldn't have been questioned. Al Capone's mother, wife, and many others were still alive, and since they had spent time with Al Capone over the years, they would have been brought in and asked. But we can only guess, since the Capone's lives were kept private. Now, just imagine, what if Al Capone didn't go to jail? If Al Capone didn't go to jail, he would have still continued his business and not pay his taxes. So maybe jail would just be at a later date. Now, what if he survives Alcatraz? What would have happened next? While he was in jail, he had wrote to his son stuff like, "Well, heart of mine, sure hope things come our way for next year. Then I'll be in your arms," and much more. This showed that he missed his family. So maybe, if he had gotten out alive, he would quit his business and start spending more time with his family. Who knows? It's only a guess we can make. The truth, forever hidden. But in the end, we don't have to guess to know that Al Capone is an interesting person. With so much power in his hands, who would have thought that he could have been stopped? But king or no king, there was no doubt denying that he was only human, a man who had flaws, no matter how hard he tried to hide them.